Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Magnitude 10 YouTube. It's July 15th, and just a few updates. I have restocked the mini store at Midway Antique Mall. Over 3,000 comic books in stock from A to Z, plus many other collectibles for sale. If you get a chance when you're driving along I 70 just west of Columbia, Missouri, stop at Midway Antique Mall and visit the Magnitude 10 mini store. We're getting close as of recording. We're at 91 subscribers for the free giveaway. Looking forward to that. Might coincide with the first year anniversary of Magnitude 10 in August. Once we reach 100 subscribers, this is the first item that I'm giving away, and we'll keep going from there. The odds remain the same, 1 in 100 for every entry, every person that registers. So share that with your friends. It won't change the odds of you winning if they register. It just help us get to the 100 subscriber goal sooner. And then we'll keep going. I'm already formulating some ideas for the next giveaways. So I do appreciate your support of Magnitude 10 YouTube. And I plan to try to live stream the giveaway. So if you can attend, that'd be great. You don't have to make a purchase, but you do have to register. Guys, YouTube doesn't allow community features until you hit a certain number of subscribers. So please do go to my website and give me at least an email address or as a way to put you into the drawing and to be able to contact you should you be the lucky winner. If you're in the Peoria area this Saturday, I'll be setting up at the QuadCon event at the Peoria Civic Center. So hope to see you at a show near you. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look now. Switching back to the Good Reads series, for this episode, because it was a small volume and because of the backstory of the creator, Barbara Slate, I wanted to do a little bit broader episode where I talk about her background and her work, and then we'll take a look at one of the comic books from the Angel Love series. Okay, without further ado, let's take a look at Barbara Slate and her comic book series, Angel Love. I think this is a common experience, and what I love about comic book collecting, I had no idea that this existed. I didn't know about this creator, but I found a copy of Angel Love. Then I found a second copy. I read both. I was curious who created this. So I did a little research and discovered that Barbara Slate is still active today, teaching comic book art and the skills and talents that go into that. Based in New York City, she has a website. She's in her late 70s. So here's what I found out. Her career kind of started in the 70s. There was a big feminist movement. Cosmo magazine picked up a strip that she wrote beginning in 1974 called Ms. Liz. And you can look at this and look at Angel Love and see the connection. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of information online, so one can only imagine how did it take place, but probably this garnered enough attention that she was able to pitch. Jeanette Kahn was the VP in charge at DC Comics at that time in the 80s for the comic book Angel Love. But, you know, the good news is Barbara is still alive and you could meet her and find out how did this happen and hear a story. That's the part that I think makes comic books very interesting, the creative talent behind the art. So Angel Love ran from 1986 to 1987. There were only 8 issues and a special, one special. Uh, and that's the comic that we're going to take a look at in depth. Barbara went on in her career to publish a series of graphic novels titled Yuppies from Hell with Marvel Comics in 1989. Here's where I can begin to understand the praise from the New York Times, emphatically of our time. The word yuppies was coined in the 80s for young urban professionals, and this was a transition to the me generation. Further research revealed that she worked on Barbie for Marvel Comics. She also wrote Scooby-Doo stories for DC, and completing the trifecta, over 100 stories and different comics for Archie Comics, including many Betty and Veronica stories. I've seen where she worked with pencilers such as Amanda Connor, and so one can imagine that over 3 decades, she had a great influence and collaboration with other female artists. I think it would be interesting to learn more if I run into creators or Barbara herself about her career and her interaction with other females in the industry and what it was like for her to stay active for so long in the industry. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the back history. We're now going to turn to take a closer look at Angel Love #1 from 1986. So I actually picked up issue #3. I might have come across it at a show or at a store. Often I kind of lose track of where I come across things, but when I see something different, and this was definitely different, it was published by DC in the 80s, 75 cent. But then I came across this first issue shortly thereafter, having read issue 3, which I enjoyed. So I picked this up, and here's our introduction to Angel Love. First issue, like it says. Cover is kind of telling. We learn who the mystery man in the silhouette is, and we can tell it's an urban environment. Just as a side, like we've mentioned, comic books are time capsules. So here we see an ad for Heroes for Hunger. Now I know that from Mike at Lunch Money Comic Books that Marvel did a Heroes for Hunger. So I can imagine that both publishers did something similar. Marvel's version was with the X-Men. I watched a video where he was having the different creators sign it, and there was a long list of creators that contributed to this DC version. So that was kind of interesting. But back to the comic book, you can tell that she's a writer and writing contemporary from the point of view of a young single female in New York City who's working as a waitress. It turns out in this page we meet all the important characters. Her co-worker, who's kind of her bestie in a way. This is a customer, and it turns out this fellow is the guy that she's interested in going out with. So it's a story about young, upward, someone trying to work their way up through society, trying to fit in, and love. Here this fellow makes a mistake and ignores his date and tries flirting with her. So he gets a milkshake in the face. So good humor. You can see the range of her writing, and she did the pencils on this too. Now, this style makes sense for Archie and other comic books, but I noticed that most of her career in the 90s, she's credited with the scripts, and I'm not sure that she did any other published art. There are ads throughout, and here we see that he actually is interested in her. So kind of fun panels, creative, very creative. The story is good. There's another, this is her roommate, and it's a funny, humorous relationship and character. They have cockroaches, so there's a little, it's just basically painting the picture of what it's like. Here the neighbor comes over, so it's almost like a Seinfeld before Seinfeld took place. I wonder if Jerry Seinfeld ever saw this. But like a lot of things, it goes into the zeitgeist, right? So she's getting ready to go out on her date. It goes well, as you can see. There's a taxi cab ride back. The bum off the street comes up and while she's away and makes himself at home in their apartment. So just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun to this comic book, but underneath some commentary on what it's like to be young and single in the 1980s in New York City. There's, an update on what DC is doing that was typical of the time, and it ends with, I was kind of surprised that this was another problem in the 80s. Her new love interest, on the second date, he gets to skip the line, and this is a make-believe Club 128, I think he says, which is twice as good as Club 54. If you're not familiar with Club 54, it was notorious, and so there you go. That's kind of funny. It's, like I said, a time capsule. And then finally at the end, I thought this was interesting because it was the first issue. There were no, letters. So I thought this was a very creative way to start the letter column. And she asked, "Hi everybody, and welcome to my favorite place in the whole world, my studio. When I'm not waitressing at the Balloon," that was the name of the restaurant, "you can find me here drawing, designing, doodling, and just plain dreaming." So this is why I say that I almost think that this was a biopic character, and it kind of looks like her, if you ask me. So I'd be curious if we ever got a chance to find out from Barbara herself and hear the stories behind the creation of Angel Love. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this content, or this type of content, please do hit the like button. That helps to get it out to other subscribers and other people on YouTube. And don't forget to register to win, and we'll see you next time on Goodreads with Jeff of Magnitude 10 Comics here on YouTube.